Hi everyone, I'm Will Brown and welcome to the WP Quickie series, WordPress tips and tricks in 30 minutes or less. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit more about content rather than WordPress and especially evergreen content. So thanks for your time joining me this afternoon in Sydney or wherever you are. Hi to you guys. Before we start, make sure you hit the subscribe button or the thumbs up or the like or the connect on whatever social platform that you're watching this one on. And drop your name and where you're from in the comments just so I can give you a little bit of a shout out. So we've got Future Shot from Marrickville in already. And we've got Paul Murphy as well, some of our regular viewers in the maze as well. We're a lovely Evergreen day. Yes, it's a nice blue sky green day out in Sydney today. Okay, so just some little reminders of some stuff. We have a new Facebook group, so I will copy the link here for WordPress Sydney. So we've moved away from the page and we've got a group now. So you can find that. It's called the WordPress Sydney Meetup Group. So if you search Facebook and type in WordPress space Sydney space Meetup, then you'll be able to find us on there. And it's a little bit more interactive than having just a page. You can have proper conversations on that one from there. And we are actually broadcasting live within the Facebook group as well. Now, there are a few little limitations with the group as far as posting. So if you are leaving comments, if you're within the group, and you're leaving the comments, then visit the streamyard.com/Facebook. If you're just in this particular Facebook group, and then that will allow you to authenticate yourself with StreamYard, and your comments and stuff will come through with your avatar. So that's only if you're watching on the new WordPress Sydney group, and you can go to streamyard.com/Facebook and connect your Facebook profile to there, and then all your stuff in the comments will come up with your nice, happy, smiley avatar. Who else do we have here? We've got Andrew from Delight Shell. So this is an example. Andrew, you must be in the Facebook group. So if you go to that streamyard.com/Facebook, you can, if you want to, authenticate your avatar with there and you'll come through with your nice, happy, smiley avatar. And we've got Joey. Joey J from Singapore, as usual. Yes, you are. And Alan Kesler as well from Annandale. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Let's see. More stuff. So if you are looking for all the links and things I talk about within these WP Quickies, then don't worry. What I do is after the broadcast, then I add them all as a comment after the video on whatever YouTube, Facebook, or the group or where it is I'm broadcasting. So you maybe wait about half an hour and you'll get all the links to what I'm talking about within these talks. And if you want to ask, that's okay. You can ask in the comments during, and I'll try and pause and answer that. Or at the end, if we've got any time, I'll circle back through the questions as well. So we've got a few more people. I've got hi from the Central Coast. I've got John. She says, thanks for hosting another one. I've got them all queued up to the end of the year, so don't worry about that. Cassandra says, hello from Camden. Hi, Cassandra. Nice to have you on board. And thank you guys for joining us. Okay, let's jump into it for today. So talking about how to write evergreen content. It's a little bit of a step back from WordPress today, but that's okay. It's all good. Okay, so let's start with what is evergreen content. So content marketing is one of the most effective strategies for business to be able to market you to your target audience. Now, evergreen content specifically is content that is written and optimized to stay relevant and drive traffic to your website forever. That could be for months, it could be for years as well, if it's written effectively enough, and depending on the topic as well. Now, evergreen content, what's special about evergreen content? Well, it has no real expiry date, and it's written around a topic that people are going to always find interesting and relevant. So some examples of evergreen content topics would be how to make WordPress go faster. Everyone always wants to know how to make WordPress go faster. How to optimize a website for SEO. And how to lose weight. And these are like popular topics that throughout the years people are going to keep searching for. So these are evergreen content. Things like different ways to cook an egg. Generate passive income. So those are the types of topics we're talking about with evergreen content. So it's going to appeal to anyone, pretty much any time. You know, so it's like those types of content could be created 2 or 3 years ago, and they're still relevant just now. So that's what evergreen content is. Let's see what's next. So let's have a look at what evergreen content is not. Now, before you dive in and write all your evergreen content, here's some examples of topics that are not going to be classed as evergreen. So things like statistics relating to a particular period. Now, they're going to likely to change in the future, unless it's a a particular like snapshot, the statistics that you present is usually going to change for those. So statistical content, probably not a good choice for evergreen content. Things like announcements and news articles as well, they're very much tied to an event that has happened at this particular time, and they're probably not going to be relevant in the future, in the next few months or in the next few years. Content that's focused on current but temporary trends. So things like COVID-19, things like sports events. So trends and things that are happening just now that's popular, maybe not so much popular, in the next 6 months, 8 months, or a year. So those are examples of types of content specifically or generally. And so I should say that's not going to be very well related to evergreen content because they've got a date and because it's going to be kind of irrelevant probably in the next little while. We hope for COVID-19. Can we talk about COVID statistics? No, we're not going to talk about any COVID statistics at all. And John says, are you okay? I am okay. And I hope you guys okay as well. So it's the Are You Okay month at the moment. So yeah, thanks for asking. I am doing good, apart from homeschooling, but doing good. Okay, so why bother with evergreen content in the first place? So many digital marketers favor writing evergreen content because it's relatively easy to do and it's pretty cost effective as well. It's a cost effective way to bring in organic or free traffic to a website. And it's cost effective because really it's only your time and research spent writing the content, researching the content, writing the content, and publishing it. So there's no extra dollar spend for creating evergreen content. And if written properly, the content is always going to generate interest. And that's a +1 for SEO and a +1 for Google as well. So your evergreen content is going to be designed to target organic traffic to your website, appearing in the free organic search engine results pages. So we're not talking about ads or sponsored or throwing money. This is just pure content that you've written. It's free. The only cost is your time. So according to a 2021 Hootsuite report, almost 43% of internet users now use some sort of ad blocking software. That's on their browsers on the desktop or in their mobile as well. And that's appearing in things like Norton's security suite and all these like kind of popular malware and virus scanners kind of got an ad blocking component as well that you can use. So that's quite a bit. So if you are using paid ads, then pretty much you're wasting about 43% of your campaign money because all these people are blocking ads. So that's as of 2021, almost 43% of all internet users are using some sort of ad blocking software. So really normal content, normal evergreen content, normal organic content is the results are more important than ever to boost your search results for those. And I'll drop the link afterwards in the comments. You can have a read through that entire article. It's quite interesting, very long, but quite interesting. So, I mean, so in summary, why bother about content in general? Organic content is because more and more people are using all these ad blockers. So if you're spending money on Facebook, social networks, if you're spending money on Google PPC, pretty much that's almost half of the people who are browsing a particular area are not going to see your ads. So organic content, super, super important. So evergreen content as well, it helps boost your expertise, authority, and trustworthiness. And that's known as an EAT or EAT score on Google. It's an important metric that's part of the search engine algorithm. We don't know exactly what it is or exactly how it's calculated, but Google have told us that this EAT score is very, very important in the rankings of your website. So the stronger your EAT score is, theoretically, the higher your best articles are going to rank. And that's going to generate more traffic towards your website, boosting your EAT score even further. So it's a bit of a self-fulfilling loop if you can get this right. So here are my 5 strategies for creating some evergreen content. The first strategy is make sure that your topics are very, very precise. So avoid time-based or trending topics, as I've mentioned before. You want a topic that's going to appeal to interested parties regardless of any time periods. Now, I like to use a tool called Answer the Public. I'll just drop the link in here. Now, if you haven't used Answer the Public before, please do so after this. It's a fantastic little tool. I'm not so keen on the new intro. They used to have an old grumpy man as like a video background, and you'd be sitting there going, "Come on, then do a search." And he's pointing down to the search input fields, which I thought was quite funny. But they've changed it recently. It's a little bit more boring just now, but anyway. Off topic, answerthepublic.com. The site basically searches or tracks top search results and top search terms, I should say, that people are searching for at the moment. So you can enter some keywords into there, and it's basically going to bring back all these kind of topics related into different keywords. So for this one here, I'll just make that a little bit bigger so you can see. So in Answer the Public, I have chosen the topic cook eggs. So that's right in the middle. You might not be able to see it because it's quite a big graphic. And what I've done is I've chopped a chunk out and just put that on the right hand side, so you can kind of get a little bit of an idea as to what sort of things it's coming back with. So you can see there's a whole range of searches categorized by things like how, who, when, why, and which are fantastic topics to use with your Evergreen, because that's people asking for stuff. It's an intent to search. So we can see here some of the results here are things like how cook eggs for ramen. So it drops stop words like and in the for those in most things. There's another one called how cook eggs in microwave, or can you cook eggs in an air fryer. Now, targeting popular search intents is going to make sure that your content has a really, really good foundation. And you can find these are all things that people are searching for right now, popular searches. So if you can have a look around about a topic and get very, very specific. So things like, how to cook eggs in a microwave or how to cook eggs for ramen, that's pretty specific, and people are searching for that. So you've got a good foundation to build your content on from that straight away. So that's our first tip, is make sure your topics are very, very precise. The second tip is evergreen content. The reason evergreen content is so popular is that mostly consumed by people who are not experts in the topic area. So we're basically talking about beginners. So evergreen content is mostly aimed at beginners. Now, you'll find that most evergreen content first begins with an explanation of the topic and why it's important or relevant, just like the first few slides in this talk. So if you are an expert in this topic area, evergreen content is most likely not going to be relevant to you because you already have those skills, you already have that knowledge. However, an exception to this rule is very niche specific topics. So for example, most digital marketers understand how SEO campaigns work. So beginner level evergreen content for that topic isn't going to be relevant to them. However, writing about a very niche topic, such as how to track a digital marketing campaign return of investment for dental practices in New South Wales, Australia, that's very, very specific. It's going to be very, very relevant to established digital marketers trying to expand their client base and trying to break into a new vertical. So even although I've said most evergreen content is based for beginners, if you are specific enough, then that you can niche down, and that can still be evergreen content for that, and it can still work in that exception. So that's my tip, is mostly aimed at beginners, but if you choose a specific niche, then that can be evergreen content as well, as long as you have made sure that people are searching for that particular topic. So tip number 3 is focus on keywords. Now, of course, you should be focusing on keywords for all content that you're creating, not just evergreen, but it is super, super important for your evergreen content creation. Now, you need to make sure that your content obviously appears high up in the Google search results so that more people can find it and read it. And so you really need to pay attention to your main keywords, but also make sure you're targeting adjacent keywords in your subheadings as well. So for an example, if you Google, or it might not work for you, but if I Google how to get fit, the top result that I get is from a site called active.com, and the article reads 5 simple tips for success. I'll make that a little bit bigger for you. Now, if you have a look at the opening paragraph, which is the image to the right-hand side, you can see that it also targets adjacent fitness keywords, and I've outlined some of those, highlighted some of those. So things like get in shape, sculpted body, getting in shape, having a better body for those. And the subheadings as well, I've not got those on the screen, but the subheadings as well, and they also relate to fitness related keywords, not the main keyword, which is get fit. or how to get fit, these are adjacent keywords. So things like exercise daily, eat the right foods, keep track of calories as well. So that's why this particular topic comes up number one, because it's got all these related keywords to it for those, and it's evergreen. Everyone always wants to know how to get fit, so that it gets a lot of traffic for those. So once you've done all your keywords for that, then return back to the Google search results to find out other related searches that people are performing, and you can find that from the people also ask section for those. So this is going back to Google search results. It's going back to the first one here. So you type in how to get fit. You've had a look at the article for that, and you're writing your evergreen content. Once you've finished writing that, nip back to the search results page and look for this little box here. People always ask, and this gives you other search terms that people are writing on, which is relevant to that main topics. So have a look down those, have a look at the topics. So for example, what is the quickest way to get fit? How can I get fit in 30 days? How can a woman get fit? How do I start to get fit and healthy? Go into those, have a look at the top articles as well, and see what keywords and what type of content they are writing, and bung that into your evergreen content as well. Because the more information you have in your evergreen content, the more relevant information and the more things that people are actually looking for, then the higher that evergreen content is going to trend and going to results in the Google results page. So focus on keywords, not just on keywords itself, adjacent keywords as well, and the actual topics that people are also asking from, and the types of things that you can find and that people also ask. And if you curate your evergreen article like that, with all this information, you stand a higher chance in going really, really high up in the rankings against those competing articles there. I love that meme. I love that. You've got it. Okay, tip number 4. Is make sure that you have an easy to follow format. Now, long text heavy essays don't make very good evergreen content because they're not very engaging. I mean, that might be true in a particular very, very specialized niche, but in general, people like to have a nice easy flow format. They're not really into reading huge, big, long text-based essays. So make sure the format of the article is easy to skim, easy to read, and easy to understand in short, readable chunks, because people like to skim things nowadays. Nobody reads from start to end anywhere. People skim through a page, find a relevant section for them, and read that. So here are some of the most engaging content formats that's going to attract the most interest. And so things like how-to contents, things like top X lists, so top 5 WordPress plugins, top 7 Google Analytics metrics to measure your e-commerce website with. Reviews as well. Reviews are of popular products and services. That's a really good format of type of article, evergreen article. Case studies as well, focusing on, but if you're doing a case study, don't go too technical into it. Case study focusing on problems and solutions, because people are always Googling for solutions to a problem. And if you can present a case study as an evergreen, then make sure that you focus on the problem and solution, not the technical aspects for that, if you're curating an evergreen content, that is. But don't limit your evergreen content to text-based formats. Mix up the flow of content with things like graphics. Infographics are very, very popular in evergreen content. Videos, polls, quizzes, and audio as well. So break up into really fun, readable, and engaging chunks for those. And make sure that your headings are all relevant and topical as well, so that people can do that skim up and down, because most people nowadays don't read from top to bottom. They just scroll through and pick out the bits that are more relevant to their needs, or if they see that is an article that's got the topics that they're interested in, then they'll go back and they'll engage in that. So make sure it's got easy to follow format. My last tip, number 5, is show your authority and back up facts. Now, evergreen content should be referable. So people should be able to link to your evergreen content and quote information from it as a trusted source as well. This is what we're looking for. Evergreen content is more likely to be referred to than just normal blog articles, because it's got that trust, because it's got those stats, it's got that authority, it's got those facts, and it's backed up as well. Now, you need to show your authority, your knowledge, and your experience through your evergreen content that you produce. Now, if you're using statistics, make sure that you check and reference the sources within that. So you're backing up that information you're providing people. And that's very, very important. If you're using numbers, if you're using any sort of facts at all, make sure it's based up by statistics so that people can go and check and make sure that's a trusted source as well. If you have an opinion, state why you believe this over the other options as well. So, so if you are biased towards one thing, that's fine. It's your article, it's up to you. But make sure you tell people why you are biased to that. And that gives people that kind of trust that, you're this is your opinion, this is why you think that way, rather than just state an opinion. Always make sure you back it up with why you believe this is the case. So the more trustworthy your evergreen content is, then the more likely it's going to get linked and shared from. Okay, now those are my 5 strategies to write some great evergreen content. I could do a whole hour worth of evergreen content, but this is a WP Quickie. So I tried to make it as short and relatable as possible, just so you guys can kind of get started. So you understand the content, you understand the concept as well. That you can really get started at how and writing some of your evergreen content. So guys, if you have any questions, post them in the comments just now, and I will circle around and get some of those. A Facebook user says, what do you recommend for ad blocking? I am currently using ad blocker. Let me just see. Ad block plus. I'm using the free ad block plus. It's probably the most popular ad blocker for the Chrome based browsers at the moment. I'm fairly sure it's on Firefox as well, but I've not used Firefox in a long time. But that's one I use. So what is it called? Ad block plus for that one. And it's kind of a pay-as-you-go. So if you install it, then you can, it throws up a welcome page, and you can donate as much as you think the plugin is worth for that. I donated $50 for that. So, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Let's see, anything else? That was a good question. Ad blockers. Feel free to go for the hour. I could, but this is a quickie, so it wouldn't be a very quick quickie for those. Mr. Meowpoo says he uses AdBlock Plus too, as it always works on Safari and iPhones as well. Yep. So big thing, and a lot of digital marketers have been hit by this. All the PPC campaigns, the thousands of dollars that they spend every month. Now I've almost got half of people are blocking all that content. And that's why content creation, organic content creation, is so critical at the moment. Okay, that's all right. Joey J says, if you want to do an updated version of the post, should you do a new post or update the old post? Like all Pixar movies ranked type of post. Yeah, that's a really good question, Joey. I would suggest that you update your existing content. Okay, pull back. If you've got existing evergreen content, then you should be circling back through and auditing your content maybe once a quarter, maybe every half a year, and make sure it's still relevant for that. So, if things have moved on or things have slightly changed, kind of tweak it a little bit. But in general, if you're looking to refresh your content, I guess the 2 big tips I would say is, 1, if it's generating a bucket load of SEO, then I'd be very wary to change it. Okay. If you're targeting content that's not generating as much SEO, so it's maybe on web page, Google page number 2, that's the sort of content that I would target first, because it's going to require a little bit less effort to try and pump it up to the first page in Google. And you can do things like, so if you've got content that's appearing on page 2 in Google, then go to page 1 and have a look at your top 1 or 2 articles and see what sort of stuff they are covering. And then make sure you go into people also ask as well. And that's going to give you ideas for adjacent keywords. And then bump all that stuff into your page 2 content. And then hopefully that will push you up to page 1. Because it's less effort pushing your content from page 2 rankings up to page 1 than it is page 10, for example, for that. But you should do content audits for that. So you should definitely, if you're doing an updated version of a post, if it's a real winner, and it's on the first page in Google, then I wouldn't bother so much about updating it. But if it's not in the first page of Google, then yeah, I would go back into that existing article and update that particular article rather than create a new post, unless it was a completely kind of side topic for that. So yeah, good question, Joey. Update your existing posts. Okay, guys, I don't think I've got anything else coming through. Paul asks, will the link be available? Yep. So the link's always available. So this is recorded on YouTube. It's recorded in our Facebook group for that. So you can always go back, and the links, I'll post them in the comments below. Give me about half an hour and I'll post those links as a comment below for those. So thank you very much, guys. Thanks for the questions as well. That's really good. Hopefully you got a better understanding of evergreen content. You can get started on those straight away. What else do we have? Yep, so lunchtime quickies, you can supply them with topics. I've got some lined up for the year, but if someone posts a particular topic that sounds really, really cool, then I might swap out the existing one in there. And just a little shout out for WPAustralia.org. So if you're looking to find meetups in Australia, there's a button there, find meetup, and you can also join us on Slack. It's got instructions on how to join us on Slack for there, and that's a little image of Slack, our online community, and get to know people, chat people, ask questions, answer questions. It's cool. A little shout out for that. You can have a look at that later on. Not bothered about marketing that. And yeah, please connect with me as well. So I'm mostly on LinkedIn just now under Developer Will, although that might change soon. But definitely connect with me if you haven't already. I'm also on Instagram as well and Twitter on those addresses. And just a few notices for what's happening. So we've got our big WordPress Sydney meetup, and that happens on the first Monday of the last Monday of every month. So the next one is September the 27th, and I'm going to be talking about how to create a WordPress local environment. So if you're a developer or a designer and you want to test things out in your local, then I'm going to show you how to use Local by Flywheel. So the product is called Local, and it allows you to have a local WordPress system running on your PC or your Mac. Next week on WP Quickies, I am going to be talking about when to use categories and tags. So going back into the basics again and chatting about categories and tags. What are they? How to use them and when to use them. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you for joining me today. Hopefully you guys are okay. Keep okay and keep safe and well. And I'll chat to you next week talking about tags and categories. Take care.